Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Town Manager Download, a podcast about local government and the town of Shrewsbury. I'm Kevin Mizikar, the Town Manager of the town of Shrewsbury, and as always, I'm joined by Communications Coordinator Taylor Galusha. We're starting part two of a conversation with Human Resources Director Kristina Ordung. Kristina, let's keep going as we talk about human resources transformation here in the town of Shrewsbury and all the work that we've done. We talked in the last episode about transitioning from kind of a tenure-based system to a performance-based system whenever it comes to compensation and classification of employees and how that ties into our strategic plan. But it has always been your vision to really be a top performing employer, to be able to retain staff, and be really competitive in the marketplace. And in Massachusetts, there's an awful lot of benefits. There's paid family medical leave, and private sector employers have been compelled to provide options like that to their employees. Municipalities haven't. Because I think there's this legacy thought that, public employees have a pension and, just wait 30 years and everything will be fine and you'll enjoy retirement. But that kind of doesn't work with the workforce anymore. So we've really worked over the years to continue to be an employer of choice and think about the benefits that we provide. It's no secret that, if you look at wages, kind of just the dollars and cents of, hourly rates or total salary compensation, that the public sector is less than the private sector for a number of good reasons, a number of frustrating reasons. But private sectors of employers have been forced to expand their benefits in some ways. But some of those benefits just make sense, right? And they've become the expectation from people that are working in the private sector. And if we want them to look at the public sector, we have to keep up. So we've done a lot of work on that. And I look forward to having a conversation with you about the details and the steps that we've taken on that part of our human resources transformation. So let's just take a quick step back. At the fall special town meeting, in Shrewsbury in 2024, town meeting members voted to approve what we call a new sick leave plan for non-union employees in Shrewsbury that offers a form of paid family medical leave. And we've also made other adjustments to our benefits packages, time off and things like that. Again, all with the focus of being a highly competitive employer. So let's start there. Let's start with paid family medical leave because that's probably the biggest change. What is paid family medical leave and what did Shrewsbury town meeting graciously take on as part of our benefits package last fall?
So paid family medical leave is a benefit that provides paid time off to employees who either need to take leave for themselves for a medical reason or specifically for a family member. So this could be anything from taking care of a seriously ill family member to bonding with a new child or dealing with your own serious health condition. Overall, it's designed to help employees balance work and personal life during these most critical times without having to have that additional financial stress of unpaid time off.
So it's paid time off for those particular purposes, including bonding with a new child. And does it apply to all employees, all of our full-time benefited employees?
So beginning July 1, 2025, it will apply to all new hires, all non-union new hires. Our non-union employees who receive benefits have the option to switch to our new sick leave plan this June and every June thereafter. If our union employees are interested in this benefit, then just like all other benefits that our town's employees receive, we'll have those conversations through union negotiations.
Great. So tell me about the process to get there for paid family medical leave. What did it start? What did it look like?
So I'd say it was about a 2.5-year process. We worked very closely with our personnel board about talking about sick leave plans, short-term disability benefits, and the use of FMLA. And then in 2023, these conversations really expanded to focus on paid family medical leave, and talking about how that fit into our overall benefit structure. Shrewsbury was very progressive for a long time. So since 1983, the town of Shrewsbury had been offering a disability benefit for employees for your own personal injury or illness. So for a long time, we were very competitive. We were on the cutting edge of benefits. But when the state passed paid family medical leave, we were missing that family leave component. And that's what we were looking to remedy.
So talk a little bit more about that process of developing the new plan that includes the paid family medical leave. How do we go about that?
So in my conversations with MMHR, it had been a hot topic. So we knew that a lot of communities were moving in this direction, and we started off by doing a lot of research. So we researched the state's program. We talked to other communities to see what they were doing. We looked at private sector options and offerings, including, what insurance plans that we could offer to employees. So we really reviewed all of our options. We even looked at what other states were doing to look outside of the state of Massachusetts. Through it all, we worked very closely with the personnel board. We presented all of our findings. We answered the questions that they had. We discussed potential impacts, going through all different scenarios. And by April of 2024, so starting in February of 2022, moving to April of 2024, nearly 2 years later, our personnel board received a red line version of our personnel bylaw that introduced sick leave plan 4 with the paid family medical leave benefit. Our personnel board examined those proposed changes and what that benefit would look like, making sure that we understood all the implications and that they understood all the implications. And ultimately, they recognized it as it being really important to support our employees and stay competitive within the state, because not only are we competing with the private sector, but we're competing with the state of Massachusetts. They have the same job functions as we do at the local government level, and we have seen employees move on to the state for this benefit. They ultimately did support the new sick leave plan, and we moved forward to broader communication. It underwent legal review. We presented to the select board, to the finance committee, and then finally to town meeting. And town meeting is the legislative body of the town of Shrewsbury, and they approved paid family medical leave in November of 2024.
Great. So it sounds like there's a couple options that obviously existed. The state legislated a plan that private sector employers had to follow. They had their own plan, but that's not exactly what we did. And so we didn't grab anything directly off the shelf and put it into place. So why did we take that approach, and how do we come to the final plan that was put into place?
So we wanted to craft the best possible benefit for our employees. We had already been offering a disability benefit for 40 years to town employees, so we were lucky. We knew what we were doing.
Tell us about that plan, what it is.
So under sick leave plans 2 and 3, the town of Shrewsbury had been offering 80% of your salary for your own personal illness or injury for up to 52 weeks.
Okay. So, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but that was pretty unique because our employees only receive 5 sick leave days per year versus the 14 that most other cities and towns provided. But it was really locked down to just their own personal illness for those sick days, and also the extended disability benefit where they're paid 80% of their normal salary and wages. So those two things put together brings us to a result that was just a little bit different than what the state offered.
Right. It was just a little bit different. It's administered locally, so it gives us more flexibility. It offers a higher level of customer service for our employees and gives us more flexibility in the administration of it.
You touched on this before, but give us the lay of the land with cities and towns in Massachusetts and paid family medical leave. What does that look like?
So we have several communities that offer one form of parental leave or another, but the town of Shrewsbury is the first local government in Massachusetts to offer comprehensive paid family medical leave.
That's great. So, when will it be implemented, and what's the process that we're undertaking to inform employees about this new plan and make sure they're well aware of those benefits that are being provided to them?
So the other component that's impacting non-union employees is we changed the tier system for our vacation time.
Okay.
So that is something that many of our employees are aware of and excited about. It's going to mainly impact people with low tenure in the organization. So that's the main question that I've been getting. And in March of this year, so next month, we're going to be offering informational sessions to employees to identify who's being impacted by the vacation changes, and also walk through their options when it comes to sick leave plans so our employees can make informed decisions. So that those informational sessions will happen in March. We're currently running the numbers right now, the updated figures on which employees will be impacted by the vacation time changes. So that initial question that everyone will be answered before we sit down in the room. And then in June, existing employees will be able to make that decision of if they'd like to move from sick leave plan 2 or 3 to sick leave plan 4. And then that will become effective on July 1, 2025.
Great. So can you provide just rough parameters of the types of leave that'll be offered under the paid family medical leave, durations, and just from your recollection, it doesn't have to be very specific, but how that compares to that state model that's out there?
Yeah, so for your own personal illness or injury, it's equivalent to the state at 20 weeks. For parental leave, whether you're the childbearing person or not, it's up to 12 weeks, and that's equivalent to the state. For caring for a family member with an injury or an illness, it's up to 6 weeks, which is a little bit different than what the state offers. The state offers up to 12 weeks. And then for caring for someone who was injured in the line of service in the military, it's up to 26 weeks, which is equivalent to the state.
Okay, so there was give and take in the overall system. Not only is it different than the state, but that maximum personal illness benefit for employees is a lot less than it was under the previous system. So employees really will have to take a look at it and decide if that plan's right for them and what their own personal situation is. Because there's some back and forth between the two plans. Mm-hmm. It's not just in addition to what we previously had. But Taylor, I kind of want to turn to you, and there's two parts that I want to turn to you on, because one of the things that I think came to you through Kristina to me and conversations was on the vacation side of things. So, you're a direct hire out of your master's degree into the town of Shrewsbury, and you're used to having things like the summer off and
summer vacation.
It was an insightful moment for me, as weird as that sounds. So, and then you come into our organization, you have a master's degree, into a role in our office. It's, pretty intense in the office. We like to get a lot of stuff done. And we kind of pat you on the shoulder and say, here's 2 weeks of vacation, figure that out over the 52 weeks of work, and oh, by the way, we'll give you 2 personal days as well. So,
right.
That's not a lot. So,
No.
talk us through that part of the vacation. What we're moving vacation bands. You'll get to, 3 weeks will be our new minimum. You'll get to 4 weeks sooner than you otherwise would have. So what are your thoughts on that?
I don't know if it's like a generational thing or it's just my personal opinion on it. I do value my time off more than if I was to be financially compensated for a day off or whatever. Mm-hmm. I think it's important, especially when you are in a high achieving office, to have time off because it helps curb any burnout you're experiencing. I think my first like 2 years here, whatever sick time I had left over, I'd converted it to vacation time, because that just like made the most sense for my lifestyle. Like, I mean, my sister lives in Ireland, my parents are in Connecticut. I have to do a lot of driving and traveling to see the most important people in my life. And I enjoy having that flexibility for the time off. So when I heard about the new plan, I was excited to kind of have those extra like 5 days to work with, to kind of be able to spread it out throughout the year, to make sure that I'm taking care of myself mentally, avoiding burnout, and also like spending my time with people that I care about. You're right, like you go from being in college, you have winter break, you have spring break, you have the summer off. There's a lot more time to do a lot more other things. But I think when you enter into the workforce, it is like kind of a stark difference from when you had more flexibility in college. I mean, obviously between semesters you're working and doing those type of things, but you're not working a 9 to 5, generally speaking, like you're lifeguarding like I did, or things like that. So I think it's important to kind of bring back some of that work-life balance to employees, especially like I feel like we're attracting more, like a lot more young professionals now in the last couple of years. So I think being able to balance that time off for them will be important when they're making a decision between Shrewsbury and somewhere else.
All right. Yeah, and we talk about, the overall compensation, and I, alluded to, join us and in 30 years everything will be wonderful with your pension, but that, that's not the reality. And we've seen over the years, if you go back even to look at the pension system, the benefits have degraded, and maybe they moved to a point where they needed to be, but let me be clear, like with the Massachusetts pension system, employees used to pay 5% of their annual wages in and achieve top step, after like 28 years or something like that. And then over time, now current employees, anyone hired after January 1st of 2011, pays 11% of their wages into the deferred compensation system, with no ability, to do otherwise. It's just an obligation that you have here. So, that's a significant additional contribution. Now it takes it takes longer to get there, about 33 years to get to the maximum. And your maximum is now spread out over 5 years if you're hired after April 1st, 2011 versus 3 years. So the pension system has done a good job as a system form of government of kind of degrading or making it, the financials work a little bit less in favor of the employee, and maybe 5% wasn't right. I'm not making that argument. I'm just saying that employees have had benefits pulled out from under them, and then we wonder in the public sector why we struggle to perform, we struggle to recruit, we struggle to retain. That's because everyone's human and they want to feel valued for the work that they get to do, and we have these options to be able to put ourselves in a good spot to change that story. Because we do, without a doubt, incredibly meaningful work on a day-to-day basis, incredibly stressful work, incredibly scrutinized work. It is public sector, and everything that we do is public. So we just have to think about that with the challenges that local governments are facing. It's up to us to make the changes. I'm proud of these changes that we've made.
It's interesting. Like majority of my friends work in the private sector that I graduated with college, and everyone I know that hasn't gotten a job yet, that's just graduating, like they have aspirations to go into private sector, except for my sister. For whatever reason, she wants to join me in the public sector. And we do have a lot of conversations about benefits. A lot of my friends work in marketing and communications in the private sector, and there is that difference in salary and compensation, retirement matches or contributions and those type of things. But again, like we kind of have that. We do offer more on like unpaid benefits, I guess, if that's what it's called. Like we do get those extra long weekends throughout the course of the year, which helps people like can plan to use their vacation time in like a more strategic way. And even going through grad school, like we talk about a lot, like the benefits were the factor that used to draw people to the public sector. And I think now more than ever, it's a lot of it has to be kind of that drive to be public servants. Like, I think if you look at the full picture of things, and you're like, this is mysterious job A, and this is what you're getting paid. This is mysterious job B, and it's a lot higher.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna pick B unless you have that like innate call to like public service. Like, I take a lot of pride in what I do here every day that I show up to work, and I find it fulfilling and meaningful. Not that people in the private sector don't feel that in what they do, but I think we have like a unique opportunity to feel that with like every single interaction, email we send, project we work on, which I think helps to make this work special.
Kristina, let's turn to cost real quick. When we went through this, and it's going to be hard for other local governments, especially Massachusetts, to kind of compare costs because we did have that unique sick leave plan with a disability benefit. And as we just talked about, we're giving some things up. But when we knew we had to be prepared for the cost question at town meeting. What is this going to cost? What is the vacation change going to cost the town? What is paid family medical leave likely to cost? What are those numbers?
So since 1983, we've been offering your own benefit for your own sickness or injury. We have no budget for that. It costs $0. We don't backfill those positions when an employee is out for a long-term illness or injury. We pay an employee at 80% of their salary, so that 20% is salary savings to the town that on a case-by-case basis can be reallocated to other employees within the department who may be taking on additional responsibilities. With sick leave plan 4 with paid family medical leave, in our research we found that 76% of the leaves that the state of Massachusetts has seen has been for your own personal injury or illness. So we know that we're fine in those areas. The new component is the family leave piece, and we have the same projections, 0% increase to the budget for this new benefit because we do not backfill for these positions. So those employees who are out to take care of a family member will receive 80% of their salary. 20% is a salary savings to the town. Again, on a case-by-case basis, can be reallocated to other employees.
And I think that part is translatable to other communities. So most directly, not backfilling positions, right? So in other communities, folks may be saving up sick leave, they may utilize that if they're going on some type of parental leave. So employees are kind of figuring out ways to be compensated, but this provides a nice clear system. Again, I think the common thread is, you're not going to backfill for someone even if like from day one that they're going to be out for 12 weeks, right? You're going to figure out a way to make that office work. It's easier to do in a community of Shrewsbury size or larger because you have sufficient staff to cover most day-to-day operations in any department, and you can make do during that time phase. How about the vacation side of things? Was there a cost impact that you remember when we were looking at that?
So when not every employee is impacted by the vacation time changes, again, when the employees that are impacted by our vacation time changes, when they're out, we don't backfill those positions. So there's a theoretical cost that I think we calculated between $60,000 and $70,000, but in practice, how it doesn't hit the budget because we don't backfill for those positions.
So there may be a number that you can quantify of total number of employees on vacation leave versus working, but again, there's no bottom line impact to the budget because you're not doing anything different during that time. That's a whole different realm on the public safety side of things where we do backfill staff. So just to be clear, like we're not talking about that here. We're talking about non-union staff outside of the public safety departments or just all non-union staff, hard stop. So in the interim, we have tweaked vacation time over the past few years before we've made this more whole-scale change. And those tweaks were more on the union contracts than in the non-union employee contracts. Just reflecting over time, we have made similar changes in our union contracts to shorten duration between the gaps or steps when employees go from 3 weeks to 4 weeks or 2 weeks to 3 weeks and vice versa.
And helping make that time more accessible to new employees, because in the personnel bylaw and in many of our union contracts, it used to be that your vacation time was accrued over time, or sometimes you even had to work an entire year before you received any vacation time, which was very difficult for our new employees. And so we began with the personnel bylaw and made that change. I think that was back in 2017 or 2018 that we give employees their vacation time in a lump sum in the beginning of the fiscal year. They do still need to accrue it over the year. So if you were to leave mid-year, it doesn't all get paid out to you. And we made similar changes in most of our union contracts to allow paid time off. It's mostly impacting our new employees so that they have, the luxury of taking a summer vacation and not having to wait a year to take paid time off.
Taylor, any thoughts on paid family medical leave being an option now?
There's so many thoughts. No, I think it's an amazing benefit that a lot of people might not think it'll be necessary for them until something happens. I had to use some not paid family medical leave back in December when my mom's cancer reoccurred, and it was very important to me to be able to be home to take care of her. And I was lucky that you guys gave me the flexibility to be able to do that, and her doctor for signing my paperwork. But I think being able to have the paid family medical leave, like you said earlier, relieves the burden of the financial impacts to your life outside of the parent you're taking care of, or if it's yourself or a different family member. I think, again, it all goes back to that work-life balance. Some things are more important than work sometimes. And you need to value those moments that you can be there for your family or for your partner or whatever, to be there for them or for yourself during a very difficult time and not have to worry about work. So I'm excited. Yeah. Sign me up. July 1.
So, oftentimes you hear people talk about transformations in organizations that they've worked on and how long it's taken. And I appreciated the opportunity to kind of go back and look at the last 6 or 7 years on all the things that we've worked on to make changes in the organization, how something back office, so to speak, like HR really plays into fully carrying out a strategic plan. It's not just those mission-oriented activities that we do. There has to be alignment throughout the organization. Certainly have plenty more work to do on transforming HR, transforming other aspects of our organization, becoming more efficient. And, we've been talking about that a lot lately. So we appreciate, Kristina, all your work in helping us drive towards being the best local government in the world, and all your work as well, of course, as always, Taylor. Let's end with a chicken or the egg question. So, the best, right? So we like to do a little segment at the end called the best. So which aspect of this HR transformation, the employee benefits or the performance improvement plan, was the best solution to drive us towards our strategic plan goals? That's not as fun of a question that we normally do in this segment. Which was more meaningful?
Well, I think the performance appraisal system is the most meaningful because it's helped us recruit and retain better quality candidates. It's helped bring alignment with the strategic plan and make sure that everyone's moving in the right direction. It's helped bring meaning to people's work and increase communication between employees and supervisors. I think it ties everything that we've been trying to do up with a bow. So I think that's an easy answer.
So if you didn't follow my advice and kept listening to episode 45, now you have to go back to and hear why. What do you think, Taylor?
I guess I don't know any different than the performance appraisal system.
Okay, that's fair.
I joined I think during its first year of being implemented, philosophy-wise, I think it aligns with a lot of how I view my work and my internal like work drive to do better always. But I think since it's different for me, I think the benefits part of it is also super important. The performance appraisal definitely provides a role in attracting and retaining employees, but I think the benefits part of it also plays a huge role in that, because if you feel like you're being taken care of on that end of things, it can make a big difference in like, ooh, do I take this job that pays like a little bit more, but I only get 5 vacation days in my first year there, or do I take the job in Shrewsbury that might not be able to match that bigger city's salary, but I get 10 vacation days? Like I think it makes people think a lot harder about where they want to be. So it benefits.
Got it. So benefits, Mike. So I think I kind of underestimated in the beginning of the strategic planning process how important HR will be and providing that whole performance appraisal system. Silly me thought that people would just get goals and embrace them and take that on. You know, that's certainly, you know, just like Taylor, like my mindset, like that's what drives me. But it's been a lot of work. So I think I'll side with Kristina. I will say that I don't think we could have done the benefits package. We could have, but I don't think the benefits package would have been as meaningful and readily available to us, and able to be communicated to the community, like how we're moving employees forward and how we're doing that without having a strategic plan and a performance-based human resources system in place. So I'll side with Kristina, so 2-1 Taylor.
Okay.
Sorry.
I love being a loser.
You're not a loser. You get it's all good. No, I appreciate your perspective. Kristina, thank you again for joining us on the Town Manager Download. Again, everyone go back and listen to episode 44 if you haven't done it. As we wrap up episode 45, this has been another great conversation. If you have a question or a comment, you can reach us at tmdownload@shrewsburyma.gov. On behalf of Taylor Galusha, I'm Kevin Mizikar. Thank you for listening.